Guys, welcome to the show. Today we have Jon Mason, the author of the best-selling book called Prospect Secrets. Okay, this guy was one of the sponsors at Patrick Bet-David's event with 10,000 people. He's worked with Patrick Bet-David for years. Jon, you actually started out in the entertainment business, you were saying, right?
Yeah, out of college, played soccer in school, had a couple of surgeries, so couldn't play pro anymore. Got into entertainment, doing bar mitzvahs, weddings, different events as the entertainment, the breakdancer dude. And that was up until about 2009 when I met PVD, Patrick Bet David, through my brother.
Okay.
And I flew out to LA. He was doing insurance. I said, "There's no money in insurance." I was wrong. There's a lot of money in insurance. And loved what I saw, the culture and the environment. Went back to South Florida. I was in Fort Lauderdale at the time
Okay.
and got my insurance license. Went back and forth, um, every month or so to learn how to run an office, learn how to run the systems, learn the game. Sucked for a while, but kept with it. And fast forward 16 years later, now I'm an equity partner with our firm. Apache obviously sold to a company called Integrity. I'm a partner with them, office partner with them, and things are good, man.
Yeah, guys, Jon is, we met at Patrick's event at the CEO group. Jon is absolute savage business person. Jon makes a lot of money, guys. We're not going to specify on the show today how much. It's not needed. He doesn't care to flex, but he does it very well, to say the least. And Jon, you have recruited, trained thousands of agents, correct?
Currently, there's over 2,000 plus guys, almost 3,000 plus licensed through my organization now. Yeah.
That's huge. So I want to kind of tailor this to growing sales teams, recruiting, building company culture. You're working with a giant, Patrick Bet David, who's built a conglomerate of a business, multiple businesses, and so I know you know so much about business and scaling a sales team, sales organizations, and some secrets that I'm excited to extract for myself. And then I know the audience is going to draw a lot of value from this. So it's a pleasure to have you, brother.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know everything. Don't put me on the pedestal too much. I know some things. Worked out. It's been
Yeah.
okay. So, but I'm more than happy to be here. Thank you.
So quick, one of the first questions I want to ask you is you're under Patrick Bet David's, one of the organization there for part of your business. What have you learned from that culture uh, about scaling in leadership?
There's a couple words you have to adapt into your day to day. Number one is accountability and
Okay.
responsibility. And I've always said from people from day one, the more responsibility that you take on, the more accountable you're going to be, the more ability you're going to see. Because if you take on that responsibility as a leader, you're willing to take on more. If you're holding yourself accountable, that means you have to step up your game. You have to perform. There's that healthy pressure there. And most people don't want responsibility or accountability. It's where you see it in America today. But if you look at your top leaders in your organization, I can promise you they get taken. By the way, this just your group or this everyone around the country?
This is everyone around the country. My not just my team, but teams all over the country.
No, I was in a curse for a minute or two, so I was making sure I was careful with my words. But they get. I'll try to be more selective. But the fact is, your top guys, I bet you they have a higher threshold for pressure, a higher threshold for crap. They want competition. They want accountability. They want the responsibility. They want to be in charge. They want to take the lead.
Right.
And I think that is one of the biggest parts of leading a team. And when it comes to scaling, it's about the systems. It's about keeping your uh, um, setting the example, but keeping the accountability towards the system. If that makes sense.
Yeah. How do you? We've had this in my organization with keeping people accountable. Um, in some ways it's been easy, in some ways it's been hard. What is a secret you've discovered in the process of holding other agents accountable and teaching leaders how to do that process the best way?
Yeah, man, I've messed that up so many times. And then I realized, have you read Power versus Force?
No.
There's a section of it in my book, but Power versus Force. You also read Letting Go. You realize that the energy level, the vibrations of people having your top salespeople at the top, bottom at the bottom, but in general, people at lower level energy is blame, anger, grief, guilt, shame. It's
Right.
that work. Then you get the courage. Courage and above is, courage, love, abundance, acceptance, etc. And I realized I was, number one, trying to work with personality, not performance. So every
Mm,
time I try to work with personalities that were like me, I'm a type A, I'm an outgoing. Those guys are the biggest. I was going to curse here. They're the biggest ones to say one thing and not actually come through.
I can't stand those guys.
Right, exactly. And I would get so butthurt saying, "What the hell?" Like, man, I'm choosing the wrong people to lock in on. I'm choosing the wrong people to work with. I have to choose better. So I have to learn to work with the right people, but I can't force it. I
Mm,
was sometimes forcing. Um, I saw talent in people, but they didn't want to step up. I went from, that's why I go back to power versus force. When you can start to let go of the crap and just work with those that want to be held accountable, they choose to be held accountable. You give choices, and if they step up, great. If they don't, let them go on to the next.
nice. So what things that leads me to my next question. How do you identify early on who's going to be a killer salesperson and someone who's going to fizzle out?
You don't. You don't like that answer. Um, you have to give little tests along the way, bro. You have to give little tests, and then
Yeah,
give tests and tests and
I
tests.
like this. No, no, I like that. I actually agree.
Little tests with a call to action. Little test, call to action, and you have to keep doing it.
Yeah,
How do you know you're going to marry a woman? You have to give a little test along the way. How does she know she's going to marry you? Little test along the way.
yeah,
And it's little test, little test, little test. And then when one of your sales guys falls on his face or her face and shit hits the fan, let's see how they respond.
mm,
If they can respond well, I can work with them. But if they can't handle that, I can't work with them. So, end of the day, you can't pick your top guys too soon. That's why I said don't choose personality, choose performance. But you have to give some kind of accountability for performance. Tell you what, listen, I want in my world, I give two books. One, I give GoPro by a guy named Eric Worre. He's actually out in Vegas. Okay, I think it's a great sales book, a great entrepreneur book. It's based on network marketing, but I like it because it's a general book. And then I would give different sales
who's
books. But now
who's
I
that
start
by?
Eric Worre, Worre. Okay,
Okay,
I think it's a sales book. And then I gave out my book, the one I wrote, Prospecting Secrets, because it's specifically prospecting, and that's what our sales guys need. They need to learn how
yep,
to get in front of people. And granted, yeah, I wrote the book, but there's no, really no freaking books on prospecting. I was just with Brad Lee on his podcast in Vegas. He's like, John, he's like, there's a need for this. Yeah,
yeah,
there's
absolutely.
one guy like Jeb Blount's book. It's here somewhere. Prospecting, fanatical prospecting.
Yep,
It's a great book. It's this freaking thick,
I know. Yeah,
and
yours
it's
is.
so technical. All these words, like, dude, I'm not that smart. So I need a simple freaking book that I can read and apply and go. So that's why I wrote that book to begin with. But there's only a few books on prospecting, not a lot, and most of them are just there's no real call to action. It's just a bunch of hype.
Yeah,
So I give my guys those two books. Now, reading it a whole book is not even feasible. So I'd say, listen, Nick, I need you to get this book or audiobook, and I need you to read the first two pages or the first two chapters. Because in GoPro, the first two chapters are like 10,
nice.
15 pages. If they're not going to read 15 pages and give me a report, I can't work with them. Why? They're not here to learn. And they're not going to even take little, they're not, because they're also not coachable. They can't take
Yeah,
direction. Even in my book, I'm not going to say, read the whole book. No, no. I'll say, read the first two chapters.
nice.
So,
So that's
because
the
this
first
book is,
test,
yeah, I mean, my book is a day read. It's not going to take you a month. So if
right?
you can read two chapters in like 20, 30 minutes, I can't work with you. That means you're not urgent. So I'm looking for urgency, coachability. I'm looking for accountability.
Nice.
There's all these
Um,
abilities, right? So it makes it easier to choose who to work with because we have systems. When you have a system in place, the system filters out the people and then attracts the right one. So,
100%.
when it comes to onboarding, okay? So as you're recruiting your guys, do you have a step one, step two, step three, step four, step five?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you say once it goes to step five, you have the next five things. Depending how fast people go through the first five is who I choose to work with.
Okay. Nice.
Because if they won't do these first five, I don't work with them next. And you have to realize in sales, it's not for everybody, man.
Yeah.
Whether you're in solar, insurance, real estate, medical device sales, pharmaceutical sales, it doesn't matter. It's not for everybody. Salespeople make the most money overall because it is a skill that takes time to acquire. It's a mindset, and you have to have thick skin.
Yeah, it's a mindset over anything. I would agree with you on that. I've seen time and time again. I always say this: success in selling is 80% mindset, 20% tactics, and it's the mindsets of a lot of things. How do you handle adversity? Are you proactive versus reactive? When crap hits the fan, are you going to sit back, complain, and
Sure.
wait for something to come in like leads, or are you going to go take action and see how you can solve it? You know, are you finding ways to be optimistic through the adversity? Those are mindsets that great people have. Even if your tonality is not perfect, the questions you ask aren't perfect. Your sequence of follow up. I've seen great success being very imperfect in a lot of areas of tactical skills, but have dominated because of great, strong mindset and discipline and consistency. So, with these people that you would find when you've recruited, what was your number one source of great recruits? Were referrals, social media, outreach, events?
Oh man, it, every industry is different. For me, when it comes to the insurance business,
Yeah,
um, I was a beast at attending events and making sure people knew who I was. If you go to a networking event with me, you're not going to like me because I'm going to talk to everybody before you, exchange numbers before you, and build relationships before you. I'm not the guy that's going to be at the bar trying to drink and
yeah,
trying to hook up or do stupid stuff. No, no, no. Because I was single most of the business and engaged now to a wonderful woman.
mm.
You met my fiance.
Uh huh. She's beautiful.
Um, yeah, she, amazing. Um, and we're having another trip next week. I was just thinking about it for a
Let's
second.
go.
But
Let's go.
oh yeah, for her birthday, it's her birthday trip.
Oh, I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah,
Where are you guys going?
Dubai.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not gonna say
awesome.
where we're staying. We're staying at a very nice hotel. It's gonna be a good time.
I'm
Uh,
excited to hear how it goes.
oh yeah. So what was I saying before I got distracted
We're,
here?
we're talking about source of leads. We're headhunting people
Oh,
at these events.
so most of the time I was in the business, I was single. Um, a lot of guys I was working with were single. Guess what they were doing? They were trying to flirt and do things the
Yeah.
wrong way. Well, my goals were bigger than my distractions. So when I'm going out to
Mm,
network with a purpose, and I would go to networking events and I'd find out how I can help you, who you're looking to meet, and I make those introductions. And then I'd exchange numbers, I'd reach out later, and then I build relationships. So over time, my cold market became my best recruiters. My warm market, for me, it wasn't the best because I don't come from a credible background. I don't come from sales or 20s in
well,
finance,
this is
whatever.
the best. This is the best kind of story when I find guys that don't have it, because this is everyone's excuse. Like, dude, I don't have a lot of people in my network. It's like, here
Awesome.
you go. Here's John who has recruited thousands of people. Like, yeah,
Oh, the warm market is nice to start, but it's not required. It's
yeah,
nice to start. If you have one, great. But if you're 22 years old, you don't have a warm market yet because all your friends are the ones you used to get drunk with over the weekends or party
right.
with. You're not going to look at you as a professional. I get it. But if you're 34 years old, you've been around for 5, 10, 15 years doing something, you've built up some credibility. So it depends on where you're at.
100%. So,
Um,
John, so obviously to scale thousands of people, you've had to create systems within leadership to help them recruit systems and in compensation. Where do you usually see people go wrong in that process? Because I'm in that process right now with trying to create incentive for my people to recruit and grow more, right? And we talked about this a little bit. You focus on the why do they do what they do? But from compensation to vision and systems, what would you pinpoint as some of the key points, if not one or maybe a couple of key things in building out leadership to incentivize them to keep this ball rolling and create that kind of exponential growth, that duplication and multiplication?
you have to speak their love language.
Okay.
Okay. So, Nick, I just told you that I was going to Dubai. How'd you feel?
Yes.
You got excited? You were smiling,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
So, how many people on your sales team, if they hit a certain number, would love an all expense paid trip to Dubai?
Not everyone, but a lot of them would.
Hear what you just said. You
Yeah.
just cracked the code.
Yeah.
Not everybody will.
Yeah.
That's number one. So, number two, I would send a KYC, which is know your customer, to all your guys. What
Okay.
motivates you? What do you like? Do you like Ferragamo shoes? Do you like Mont Blanc pens? Do you like watches? Do you like cars? Do you like experiences? Do you like travel? Do you like private mentorship dinners? For me,
Mm,
let's say you called John Maxwell, hypothetical, the first name that comes to mind, and you say, guys, I'm doing a contest for a private dinner with John Maxwell. Anyone that does this is coming with me. Or Patrick McDavid. Hey, I call Patrick. We're doing a private mentorship at the Valuetainment office in Fort Lauderdale. Anyone hits these numbers has a full day with Patrick. Now, to me, you know why I value that?
mm.
Because that information is going to go make me a lot of money.
Yes, exactly. But some other guys don't appreciate that and doesn't
They
motivate.
say, I want the material items. By the way, that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't remember power versus force. Don't force it.
Don't force it. Find out what they want. Give them. Okay.
That's it. So
Right.
if I run a contest for $1,000 shopping spree at Las Vegas, and that's girls and guys, because remember, girls like shoes, guys like shoes. Sounds good. $1,000 on any pair of shoes you want. We can go to Ferragamo. We can go to Louis. We can go to what is Valentina? Valentino? What are they called for the girls?
Oh,
Balmain. There's another one.
don't ask me. I don't know.
I'm getting a lesson, bro. All these weird stores. Balmain, I think it's called. Um, oh, anyways, weird names. Okay, but any typical pair of shoe is 800 to maybe $1,200, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
So one pair of shoes, if you hit this, whatever it is. Some people are thinking, I don't need more shoes. I'll go buy my own
Yeah,
pair.
they're good.
I'd rather the experience. Sounds good. 3-day all expense cruise from Orlando to the Bahamas. Maybe they want a trip. You're in Arizona, right? You're in Arizona?
Yeah. No, I'm in Utah.
You're in Utah, right? You're in Utah. Maybe they want to go to Disneyland in Cali.
Yeah.
Maybe a
Now, what
Florida
when
experience.
it comes a lot of these teams that we try to get them on trips together, right? And so how do you handle that? Like if somebody doesn't love trips, for me, I do love trips, but I like them with my, significant other, which is why I lit up. But with like team stuff, I don't love it a ton. But I love mentorship. I love events. And so how do you navigate that of like trying to build the company, build the culture with not having everybody segregated? Give them a watch to this guy, an Xbox to that guy,
Sure.
a car to
Could
this
you
guy, a trip to this guy.
easy, easy? Could you name your top 20%?
Yeah.
Incentivize them.
That's smart.
Why do you care if the bottom of the barrel is complaining?
Yeah.
You got to keep your positive. You got to keep your top of the barrel. The guys that pull the company, that pull the weight, keep them happy. Because
Yeah.
I promise you, there's some 80 percenters that want what those guys have.
Okay, John, how do you create with the top 20%, how do you create a path of progression and a vision for these guys to progress and grow? And is that a critical part to scaling and growing?
Well, every business is different, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I mean, full transparency, if you look at any traditional business, even in the entertainment world, if the top MC becomes the most popular, you know what he's going to do eventually?
Hmm.
Start his own.
Mm,
Real estate, you're there for 2 to 5 years, depending on your stage. You get your broker's license, you go start your own. Your business, your top guy might go start his own one day. Now, everything you've trained them on is your direct competition.
exactly.
So you have to be aware. In insurance, same thing. Our platform incentivizes you to go get your own branch. The override's still there. That's what's nice about it. Unlike a lot of other branches or platforms. So in your platform, one, what is my if I work with you, what's my long term incentive?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first question you have to answer. If I work with you, if I stick with you 10, 20 years, we're going to run together. What's my incentive?
Right. So
That,
for
that
my
has to outweigh me leaving, starting my own.
right, absolutely. So in my industry with solar door to door, it's very common for like an equity incentive plan at EIP, some kind of payout, usually 10 to 20% of the total company valuation. Some of them are seen as pipe dreams. It's very common. And then some of them are legit, you know. And so I've seen some companies go to profit sharing model, but most tend to have like an EIP plan. Do you have any preferences on that or any input or just kind of like,
That's on you, bro. You got to
yeah,
figure that part out.
100%. Yeah,
And there's
we've got it kind of going. I was just curious to see if you had thoughts on it.
no, I mean, again, it's what motivates you. Okay, it's what motivates you. Um, and motivate your top 20 percenters.
Top guys, yeah.
When Patrick was building the insurance, people always ask you, what's it like working with Pat? What's it like working with Pat? I said, all right, so I'll tell you. Um, when Pat was building the insurance company, he always motivated the top 20 percenters.
Mm.
And for me, here's the crazy part. John, we're doing a trip to the Bahamas. Sounds good, Pat. John, we have an all expense paid trip to Aruba. Sounds good, Pat. John, if you hit these numbers, you're hosting the gala. I'm all in, Pat. What do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? So, me becoming entertainment, I just wanted to host.
Mm.
Well, that was my fun. That was my entertainment side coming out. To me, that
Mm.
incentivized me more than an all expense paid trip to Aruba. Why? I'll do it myself.
Yeah, 100%.
So it depends. Patrick had to figure out what gets everybody moving. Like his kids, all his kids are different. You have to find out what makes them tick.
Okay.
So
So,
building a family, building a business, a lot of similarities there.
lot, yeah. What are the biggest mistakes you've seen leaders make, John, when trying to scale their own sales force or business or their sales team?
We only got 30 minutes for this call. Are you kidding me? Um, what's the biggest mistake or
Yeah,
mistakes they're making?
mistake or mistakes. Yeah,
Bro, where do you start? I mean,
just start writing them off. What do you see that drives you nuts? That you're like, my gosh, dude, this kid.
well, listen, I mean, I can give you a 10-hour podcast on that answer. I'll give you. And
This
by
is
the way,
good.
these
This is
are
good.
mistakes that I've made. These are mistakes that I've made.
Okay, give me
Um,
give me a big one. Like
oh,
that hurt.
assholes would be top of the list.
Which one? What?
I didn't curse. I said
Oh,
ask.
oh, assholes.
A-S-S.
Yeah,
Let me tell you
I think I know what you mean on this, but
oh,
expand.
they keep asking the same freaking question and they never do anything. They keep asking, but they don't apply anything. I gave you the answer 10 times already. They're assholes. Why are you asking if you're not going to do anything? What they're doing is they're seeking attention. So going down the rabbit hole, those are the type of people that have childhood trauma
Yeah,
that
they're
they
seeking
haven't dealt with
validation.
that's now
Yeah.
showing up in their adult life. And the only way they know how to get attention is that.
Yeah, it's
So
fascinating.
I'm not going to
Yes.
get, yeah, we're not going to get into that podcast.
Yeah.
But the challenge is, yeah, ask holes. Stop asking me things if you're not going to apply it. You
Okay.
ask, you apply. Ask, you apply. Again, goes back to how we started this conversation, not choosing your guys too soon. Personality versus
Okay.
performance.
Okay.
It's all correlated.
It
So
is.
one of the biggest mistakes is I've worked with people that are assholes.
Okay.
That was my mistake. Two, not having set accountability.
Okay.
Um,
Expand on
meaning,
that. Set accountability.
meaning because let's say you have a contest,
Okay.
okay, and your top 20% aren't performing.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the middle 20-30% is crushing it, outperforming the typical 20%. But
Mm.
I'm also very close to the 20% because they've been so loyal. They've always been pulling their weight, but they're just whatever's going on. I personally have messed up where I've lowered the standard to give the top 20% a
Mm.
chance because after this situation, I'm thinking that it's just a one off, that the middle 20-30% is going to go right back to being back in the middle. So I
Okay.
didn't want to ruffle the feathers of the 20% because I was afraid of losing them. The
Ah.
biggest mistake that a leader can make, at least top five mistake, is you're afraid of losing them. The moment you're afraid of losing someone, you've already lost them.
Yeah, because you operate out of a scarcity mindset.
Scarcity and fear-based mindset. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big one. Same thing in closing, even in
So what
prospect.
what mistakes do people tend to make in leadership when they operate at that mindset of like, oh, I don't want to lose this guy. So what are specific things they usually do? Like they lower expectations. Oh, you don't have to work 5 days, work four.
You justify. You make excuses.
Okay.
You don't give them accountability. You let them get off easy. And listen, I've had guys in my organization that I didn't want to ruffle the feathers because I wanted to give them some space.
Mm.
Never worked out. The moment that I had higher expectations, higher standards, higher accountability, the right people will step up.
Wow. I remember
The
Patrick
right
talking about
people.
this at the vault where he said something along the lines of you should be very slow to lower any standard. Like if people, because we've
Slow
had
to
this in my
hire,
company,
fast to fire. Well,
and I
slow to
list
fire.
what's that?
Slow to hire, fast to fire.
Slow, yeah, yeah. But like with lowering, like for example, our input requirements, people were saying, "Oh, it's this time of season. We should, guys are getting burnt out. So, Nick, I think we need to lower our standard." And I eventually they sold me on it, and I was a little too quick to accept it. Because you see the things plateauing. But what we didn't have was accountability on like, why is that happening? Where are the one-on-ones? Where's the face-to-face meetings with these reps? Are they happening? When was the last time they were shadowed? And when we go look at the data, it was very
I see
inconsistent.
what you're saying.
And so we were quick. Instead of solving it one way, we went to just, let's just lower the standard so that people aren't embarrassed that they're not hitting their targets.
Let me give you an idea that maybe can help in that situation. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So in the insurance world, we call them runs, 90-day runs. So January, February was preparation because there's different events. March, April, May, 90 days. Right. So if you have an operating scale from 0 to 10, 10 is nonstop. January and February, you're operating at a 6 and a 7, right? Maybe an 8. You're just working. Once March, April, May, the run hits 9 and 10, but you can't sustain that. That's like sprinting on the treadmill at 10 for 20 minutes. You can't do that, but you can sprint for a minute or two. So after the run, we go into the summer. So there's March, April, May, then June, July, August. Everyone takes off. Vacations, travel, school. So guess what happens to the numbers? Numbers will dip. Then September or August, we ramp up again because we're back at big events. And then September, October, November was our last run of the year. So there's 2 runs a year.
Okay.
Patrick says, this doesn't make any sense. Why are we losing here, here, and here? He says, I got to find a way to drive an incentive now, which shows up later. So then we started doing a contest, June, July contest, and we play in August. He
Nice.
found a way to incentivize the top 20% in the 2 months that were typically slow, and we get the benefit after.
I love that. Okay.
So there shouldn't really be a slow season. I don't believe in slow seasons. I believe in adjusting to the situation.
Mm. I
But
like that. So
we don't
offset the like less desired, like for our industry door to door. Hey, it's colder. It gets dark earlier. Bring out
bro, go
more.
to a different state
Yeah, hundred
for
percent.
3, 4 months. Like, don't give me that
Yeah,
shit. Figure it out.
go blitz. Go live somewhere else. Yeah,
That's
I love that.
that because you chose that industry.
Yep.
So if you chose it, go max it. Don't come to me saying, "Oh, well, this is our slow season." Bullshit. Go figure it out, man. There should never be a dip in your income. Never be a dip in your income. That's an excuse.
I agree. What about guys who have like this belief? Because some sales industries they have like this. They're used to just selling for a summer. How would you help navigate that? Because I'm like you, where I'm a year round type of guy. I love that. I promote that in my company because I'm a believer in consistency. And it's making 100 $200,000 a month when I was in the summer consistently versus making just 50,000 a month. It's very easy, and the 50,000 a month allowed me to build a business
Mhm.
and a podcast and be a single dad full time. And so um, that's something I'm a proponent of. So how would you get guys out of that limiting belief of like, oh, I'm all in and then I'm off. I need to take long breaks.
It sucks being a leader, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It sucks being a leader, doesn't it?
it does. Yeah, that's just
What
the
do you want
name.
me to say? There is no answer, bro.
Uh,
Uh, the fact is that, going back to Pat didn't take time off.
yeah,
Pat was a 7 day a week kind of guy. Spend time with the family, of course.
yeah,
Only time that we took a vacation was when it was a company trip.
yeah. That's how I am. I
So the fact is, you have only so much time on this earth that you have to max it. You have to max it out, and you have to find the balance where work life balance. It's not work life balance. It's just balance. Okay, you figure out things you want to do and you get it done. If you want to go on a vacation, all right, take the vacation, but plan accordingly. So when I travel, remember I have a team of brokers and agents that are still running operations. Business does not slow down because they have incentives in place that keep the ball moving. Okay. Um,
I like it.
the leader sets the pace for the race. So if you slow down, the challenge is you haven't duplicated yourself.
Mm,
There's nobody flag carrying in your place that's going to take over, that's going to step up.
right.
There hasn't really been a leader defined yet. So if your income is going from 150, 200 to 50, that means the majority of your money is coming from you. That means the majority of your business is driven through you. That means that everyone else is on cruise control. And now everyone's going to find a way to justify their lack of activity, saying, oh, look, well, his went down, so mine's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody. It's not just me. Okay, that's more bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Agreed.
it's just the victim mentality, man, is not sexy at all.
No, it's not. You see it all the
And
time.
listen, I fell into that years ago. Patrick would call me out on it. And I was like, Pat, what are you talking about? He says, John, do you know what you're saying right now? I said, yeah. Here's how it sounds. I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds pretty bad. Yeah, I'm going to stop that. So we've all done it because our ego gets in the way. We don't like being called out. We don't want to accept the reality of, yeah, this really sucks. But the moment
Mm-hmm.
you say, yeah, I screwed up, I messed up, I'm going to go fix this, boom,
Change.
it
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah. Extreme ownership is step one to change. So tell me, when it comes to training, changing gears from recruiting and building to training, what's the difference between how amateurs train and how professionals train?
Amateurs versus professionals.
When it comes
So
to training salespeople?
is this in general in your specific situation?
I say let's go general for this.
Okay, so one, everything is systems. There has to be a step by step, clearly defined system when you're onboarding to progressing. So if I worked for you, I need to know what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next. On top of that, there has to be clearly defined accountability. Because if I'm not being held accountable, who knows where the hell I'm at?
Mm-hmm.
So systems and accountability are the separators
Okay.
from professionals from amateurs because amateurs are just winging it. They're just, oh, read this book, best of luck. Here, read these 5 pages, go. No, there's got to be ongoing systems, ongoing accountability with procedures in place. For us, we have training in our office twice a week for a couple hours. It's a part-time position for most of our guys, but that's been our system from day one. So I've been doing that for 16 years.
Nice.
Now, the real work is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesdays and Saturdays, mornings and evenings. That's just the check-in. That's the accountability. There's some training there, but the real training is hands-on. So if you're going to get your guys up to speed, if you want to really have a training program, the more role playing you do, and the more actual experience they have with the consistent tracker for that, that's going to be a game changer. I've seen a lot of sales guys that have great products, no systems.
Mm.
Great systems, no accountability.
Yeah.
Great systems and great accountability, but the leader up top is weak and over
Mm.
time falters.
Mm. Dude, this has been the hardest part is in my model, just to explain kind of a dilemma. I've got great leaders, great, good people, but there has been a lack of accountability for the leader to hold some of these guys accountable, partly because they're so stacked with their calendar from running appointments, but also, so it's a setter closer model in our space. And we have these pod leaders that are managers of closing help manage these setters. Okay. And these setters, as some slip through the cracks, some of their numbers fall, we have a different metrics we look at, but very often they'll fall below these metrics. They have their calls with me to review every week on the KPIs and reps, there's usually an excuse of what's going on in their life. But then I go talk to the rep and work through it in 30 minutes, and they're back on track. And so I find out really there's been a consistent theme of they're just not putting in the time with some of these guys. And so how do you, and now most of my leaders are making 50,000 plus a month consistently. And so part of me thinks that they're fed, they're happy, they don't want more. And not that
Sure.
they don't want more, but it's just like,
They're
why
content.
push? Because they
Listen,
don't see. Yeah.
50 grand a month, you're not broke. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
some up to 100,000 a month, especially in warmer months, most are making closer to that. But yeah, that's kind of the dilemma, because the lifeblood of our business is the setter, John, right? And so retaining those setters is critical in making sure they get results.
Mhm.
And so sometimes stuff slips through the cracks. And it's usually, so the systems we've created is this daily accountability from setter to manager, and then weekly accountability to manager to me. And then they're measuring inputs and outputs. Inputs daily if doors decision makers pitched, and outputs are sets. And then on the weekly, it's um, decision makers pitched, sets, sit appointments, sold accounts. And we have certain metrics where we expect weekly um, minimum of 75, ideally up to 100, 125. And then
Mhm.
we have different set rate, sit rates that we push for, and SOPs if they're not performing or if they are, right? And there's just a lot of things that are happening that are not on the radar with leadership. What is your advice there? Is that a person problem? Is that a systems problem? With you have someone like me, I have my COO now having automatic text messages based on KPIs and leaderboards going out to leadership to say, "Hello, red alert, folks, with this guy." Have you? And then in the systems we're having is, have you had a face to face with this guy once a month minimum? Is there a contact point? A major contact point every week? Have they been shadowed? If it's been more than 2 weeks without saying, have they been shadowed?
All right. So
There's
you're
just a lot of things that aren't getting checked and missed. And
yeah.
so for me, I'm trying to control the success as much as I can.
So in the next 5 minutes here, because I'm going to have to wrap up,
Yeah.
um, it's a combination. Okay, and I'm trying to give you the faster answer. Um, you know who Art Williams is?
Uh-uh.
Okay, study Art Williams. He built A.L. Williams back in the 70s. They sold it to Citigroup, which is now Primerica. I'm not going to give you my opinion on that company, but it's still a big company. Um, but Art, if you study Art, just him,
Okay.
he's got some books. Um, Phenomenal leader. He's got a book called Pushing Up People. Okay. Do I have it here or is that my office? One sec. It's called Pushing Up People. There's my library here. You can't see. Um, Anyways, it's a blue cover book with red writing.
Okay.
And this was suggested to me by my buddy George years ago. And it helped me to process between being a leader, being a boss, or a
Okay.
leader and a manager. And from what I'm hearing, you're doing a lot right. We can tell you're doing a lot right because people are making not just some money, but very good money compared
Yeah, but some
to,
of it comes off as like boss mentality, like, because the fact, like, a leader, people are going to want to report and communicate and build.
yeah, but you know what that comes down to, bro? What do you think the difference is between a leader and a boss?
A leader inspires people to take action on their own. A boss has to micromanage.
Okay, that's one way to look at it. What else?
A leader can duplicate leaders from his action. I think that's true measure of leadership.
What else?
Um, I think the leader helps people see a bigger vision for them and for the growth.
What else? We can keep going on. What else? What else? Right? Keeping it simple. It's the relationship.
Mm. Like transactional versus,
Relation.
genuine. Yeah.
Patrick is the boss. When we were doing the insurance company, Patrick's the boss. He's the freaking CEO. He's the
Right.
boss. He didn't treat me like I was an employee. He treated me like he's the leader, but I'm working with him.
Right.
He's trying to build me up. A leader is building up other people. So he led from the front. He had a deep rooted relationship with his top guys, and he led from the front. A boss is more about, kind of telling you what to do, acting like a big shot. Granted, there are bosses that are leaders as well, but where I was just trying to break this down in simple terms, being a leader is more about having a deep rooted relationship with your people.
Okay.
So when there's a deep rooted relationship with your people, it's easier to process issues because they know that it's not there just for the money.
Mm.
It's not there just for numbers or quotas or to keep a job. A leader gives a crap about you. A leader's in the grind with you. one thing with our platform, I think it's the same with you, is we've all been 1099. We don't have quotas. With the insurance world, we don't have quotas. We don't have minimums. If we don't write business, we just don't write business. We don't make money. But we can't get fired. At other big firms that are more corporate, there are quotas and minimums. I get that part.
Right.
Um, so our entire platform has always been around leadership development, leadership development, leadership
Yeah. Amen.
development, leadership
Mm-hmm.
development, not boss mentality. So leadership development is spending time with your guys. Last night I was with one, two, three, four, six of my top guys. Took them out for cigars. Was there to about 12:30. I called someone that works directly with Patrick, Tigran, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tigran and I are on the phone at midnight, sharing stories on speakerphone with these guys. So it's just a matter of culture, environment. I want to be around it. I don't want to miss. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
I mean, I almost forgot what the actual question was.
It was like, how do we, a lot of stuff is slipping through the cracks. I was
Yeah.
just a dilemma, and it's being missed, and guys don't have the desire to like,
Have you
they do
identified?
have desire. What's that?
Have you identified what's being missed?
Uh, yes, yes, and things are improving. They are improving, so they're doing very good. I'm not trying. I look at any window for improvement, and in most companies we are crushing, but I look at where we could be, and I see big
Yeah.
gaps still.
So that's the part.
So
So you've identified it. Then it's about a solution. Then you got to be implemented it, and you have to hold everyone accountable to it.
accountable to it. And if they don't perform, what's your thing of like your SOP? Typically, generally speaking, if
Well,
something,
I don't fire people. I just don't work with them anymore. So the way I do it is probably different than the way you may do it.
but what about a leader who has like a lot of guys who's well invested? You know what I mean? Like if they're not hitting, not quota, but if they're not hitting certain metrics of their job.
Everything is what's going on. I've
Yeah.
noticed that when most people are not performing in their work, it's their personal life sucks.
Mm,
I've noticed when their personal life is off, business is off. But when business is running, they got a good personal life going on. So first thing is, how you doing? What's going on? How's everything at home?
this is good. I've seen how doing that does is different. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
but
seen. I
you don't do it, but don't do that in the office. Do it outside.
do it outside the office.
So let's say you go. Let's just say your numbers are off. Nick, what's up, buddy? Yo, it's almost 2 o'clock. What are you doing at 2:30, 3 o'clock? Yo, you and me, let's go get some food. I'm hungry. You gotta eat. I gotta eat too. Let's get some food. And then Nick, what's going on, bro? Dude, you've always been the top guy. Last 2 months, you've kind of been a little off. What's going on? You okay? What's on your mind? What's bothering you?
I
What's
love it.
bothering you?
Yeah, I could see that.
But
That's huge.
you have to give a shit. Like
Yeah,
you
you do.
have
No,
to
you
care.
do.
Otherwise, let it go. But if you care about your guys, then yeah.
100%. 100%. John, this has been incredible. Thank you for sharing these gold nuggets. I want to come to a wrap on the time for you and for the
Sure.
audience. And these are amazing nuggets. I have a whole page and a half typed up of notes, so this has been incredibly valuable for me. Guys listening to the show, guys and gals, I hope you got as much value as I did. And John, I guess for somebody starting out, like what would be one quick answer, your first move you'd make if you had to restart everything?
If I had to restart everything, what's the first thing I would do?
Yeah, to build up and scale where you've been.
I would go spend more time with the top leaders.
Mm,
Because
amen.
if I could learn from them, that's going to save me a lot of headaches.
Proximity is huge. I
Oh,
love that, brother.
kidding me? Amazing. That would have saved me so many times, so much time,
That's
so much.
amazing. Amazing advice. Thank you, John. Where can people find you on Instagram and socials?
So if you want to go to obviously at Jon Mason right there, at Jon Mason Money is my IG. If you go to Money Mace Mase,
Hmm.
uh, moneymace.com, there's the website for the book. But yeah, if you want to hit me up on IG, go to at Jon Mason Money, but also on Connect. I don't know if you're on Connect, you should be.
Yeah,
Connect is
it's amazing
PB
app.
Rap. I'm on there as well if you guys want to process stuff. And again, when it comes to questions, you ask me a direct question, you're going to get an answer whether you like it or not.
That's good.
So just make sure if you're asking, be prepared.
Guys, Minek, for if you, those of you who don't know, it's an app that these guys created. It's amazing. It's a mentorship app. Tony Robbins just invested millions to help this because he believes in it so much, and I do too. It's where you can find mentorship and pay directly for it from anybody, like some of the top people in the world. It's incredible. And so if you haven't yet, check that out. Jon, thank you again for the time. Guys, go read the book Prospecting Secrets. I'm going to be reading it. I've got one more book to read, and I'm reading this one. So I'm excited to dive into that. And guys, if this brought you value, please go follow Jon and like this and give the review for the show. More 5 stars we get, the more people we can reach. So love everything you shared, Jon. Guys, go execute, go imply this, and I want to hear more stories about everybody succeeding and growing. So thank you, Jon.
Awesome. See you guys.
See
Thanks,
you.
Nick. Everybody.
Uh-huh.